right, the importance of having the goodness of God in our life. Without the presence of God, without the goodness of God, then there's no mercy. There's no, it's all good and everything of God is gone, and therefore you're left with just evil and wickedness and really the judgment of God. Listen in Daniel chapter 3, talks about 3 Hebrew children that were thrown in the fire that was heated up 7 times more than normal, and yet when Nebuchadnezzar looked into it, in verse 24, chapter 3 of Daniel, he said, "Did not we cast 3 men bound in the midst of the fire?" They said, "True, O king." He answered and said, "Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of God." When they got them out, their bonds were burned off. There was no smell of smoke, stench of smoke. The only difference between these Hebrew children and the ones that threw them in the fire that were burnt was the presence of God. That's what's going to make the difference in eternity. If you don't have the Lord, if you hadn't trusted in the Lord with all your heart, then you're left without God's presence. You're left without His good. You're left without His protection is what you're left with. And the reason the fire didn't hurt the Hebrew children was because they had the presence of God. The goodness of God was with them. The reason it destroyed the men that threw them in was because they didn't have that goodness. They didn't have the presence of God with them. And so that's something for us to consider, especially in eternity. When you go off into eternity, if you die without Jesus Christ as your Savior, then you die without God. And so you have to face all eternity without the goodness of God. And how sad that would be. Let me encourage you. You put your faith and trust in Jesus. Let God save your soul. And it'll be the best thing you've ever done.